Good evening. Tonight is Thursday, June 20th, 2024, special meeting, canvass of votes. We will begin with Ms. Politi leading us in the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please bow your heads for a moment of silence.
Mr. McCoy, please call the roll.
Ms. Bello,
Here.
Ms. Boucher,
Here.
Mr. Bergarelli, Mr. Doré,
Present.
Mr. Howard, Mr. Levenstein,
Here.
Ms. Politi,
Here.
Mr. Stewart.
Thank you. The clerk of the board will now conduct the canvass of the votes.
Oh, he was on the front.
Hi, I'm Matthew McCoy. I'm the district clerk for the Newburgh and Large City School District. Sitting on the table with me are the two poll clerks that were approved by the Board of Education. This is Ms. Cheryl Chappell to my left and Catherine Kramer to the right. There was 18 affidavit ballots that were turned in on the June 18th revote. Those 18 names were sent to the Board of Elections. There's 15 registered voters in my box that were ready to check their signatures. I'll knock the box and we'll check. The names of the 15 people who voted by affidavit ballot are as follows: Douglas Robinson Jr., Yvette Cologne, Heather Christie Robinson, Madeline Gillespie, Bernard White, Sergio Gonzalez, Brian Negron, Matthew Schuyler, Cynthia Thomas, Vida Culberson, Diana Giordano, and Thomas Giordano. We will now check the signatures. Yes. Next, do you think the signature matches?
Agree. Yes.
Yes. Signature looks similar.
I'd say yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
No. Sorry. No.
And that's a no for me.
No. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. No.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes. There's 13 valid affidavit ballots. Proposition no.
Yes. Agree.
Thomasina Bello.
Yes. Yes.
Proposition yes.
Yes. Yes.
Philip Howard.
Yep. Yep.
Proposition yes.
Yes. Yes.
Thomasina Bello.
Yes. Yes.
Proposition no.
Yes. Yes.
Thomasina Bello.
Yes. Yes.
Proposition yes.
Yes. Yes.
Thomasina Bello.
Yes. Yes.
Proposition yes.
Yes. Yes.
Thomasina Bello.
Yes. Yes.
Proposition yes.
Yes. Yes.
No vote for the board.
Oh. Yes. Yes.
Proposition yes.
Yes. Yes.
Philip Howard.
Yes. Yes.
Proposition no.
Yes. Yes.
No vote for the board.
Yes. Yes.
Proposition no.
Yes. Yes.
Thomasina Bello.
Yes. Yes.
Proposition yes.
Yes. Yes.
Philip Howard.
Yes. Yes.
Proposition no.
Yes. Yes.
Thomasina Bello.
Yes. Yes.
After the tally of the votes by the poll clerks approved by the Board of Education, Proposition 1 is as follows. Yeses, 1,113. Noes, 977. Philip Howard received 826 votes. Thomasina Bello received 1,153. There were 1,911 people that voted by the machine. 194 people voted by absentee early vote. 13 people voted by affidavit ballot, and there was a total of 2,118 voters, Mr. President.
Okay, on the floor, we need a motion and a second for the votes as they are.
So moved.
Second.
The roll call.
We need a motion to amend, as the clerk stated, the total amount of voters for Proposition 1 was 1,113, noes was 977, 826 for Howard, 1153 for Thomasina Bello, machine vote 1911, absentee voters 194, 13 affidavit voters, and there's a total of 2,118 voters. We need somebody to...
I make a motion to amend as per the board clerk's clarification and new figures.
Second.
Need a vote.
Yeah. To amend, Ms. Boucher,
Yes.
Mr. Duray,
Yes.
Mr. Levenstein,
Yes.
Ms. Politi,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart, Ms. Bello.
Yes.
Now we need a roll call on the motion as amended, Mr. President.
Okay,
Roll call as amended, Mr. Doré,
yes.
Mr. Levinstein.
Yes.
Ms. Politi,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart. Yes. Ms. Bello,
Yes.
Ms. Boucher.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. McCoy.
I would just like to, this is a monumental effort, especially when there's a revote. The clerk's office normally starts the process, in January. So to turn this around from 6 months to 3 weeks, there's a lot of factors that came into play, but as you saw counting tonight with the 15 ballots, if the Board of Elections didn't provide those, machines, and it was 95 degrees the other night, I mean, we would have been there for hours and hours and hours. So the Board of Elections really stepped up to the plate, along with the rest of the people from all over, including the building administrators, the teachers that move their cars from normal parking spots, because we normally don't vote during regular school hours. So as the clerk, and from the clerk's office, especially all the deputy clerks, and especially the clerk that worked in my office, Susan Kaplan, thank you very much, and I appreciate your support.
Thank you, Mr. McCoy. And from the board, we appreciate your hard work. Before I did this, I didn't realize what goes into conducting an election with a limited staff, to say the least. So thank you very, very much for your efforts. It's very appreciated. Motion to adjourn? Get a motion to adjourn this meeting, please?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Levinstein? Yes. Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart? Yes. Ms. Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Doré?
Yes. Good evening. Today, Thursday, June 20th, 2024, regular meeting of the school board. I will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. Please call the roll.
Ms. Boucher?
Here.
Mr. Doré?
Present.
Mr. Howard? Mr. Levinstein? Here. Ms. Politi?
Here.
Mr. Stewart? Here. Ms. Bello?
Here.
Thank you. Before we move into comments, public comment on agenda or non-agenda items, I'd like to call on Mr. Shaw to explain the rules of a meeting, a school board meeting versus maybe what some of us are used to as a common government meeting.
Okay, so under the education law, the board meetings are business meetings of the board. There's no requirement to have public speaking at either regular board meetings or special board meetings. It's very common to have public speaking at regular board meetings. It's also very common to have speaking on agenda items and also non-agenda items. For special meetings, it would be very uncommon to have public speaking at those meetings. Most school districts subscribe to either the New York State School Boards Association for the rules of order for board meetings, or the Erie BOCES. So those are the two major policy services, and typically the special meeting policy does not allow for public speaking. That, of course, is completely within the discretion of the board when the board is making policy.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Any questions? Or good. Mr. Levinstein?
Is there any criteria what would be a regular board meeting versus a special board meeting?
Usually, the boards adopt a calendar of meetings that are the regular meetings. In a small city district, there must be at least one a month. In the other districts, it could be as infrequent as quarterly. It's very common to have 2 meetings per month that would be regularly calendared. And then other meetings that are usually event-related would be special meetings and they happen periodically.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bello.
I have a question. A special meeting is, you don't generally put regular items in a special meeting. A special meeting is for a special purpose or an emergency or something that has to be done right away, am I correct?
Yes, typically a special meeting has a time-sensitive element. One interesting aspect, though, you may consider appointing people to positions as being something that could wait for a regular meeting. But when there are vacancies in pedagogical positions, they're supposed to be filled by the board. They cannot be filled by the superintendent. While the superintendent can hire a substitute for someone who's on a leave and expected to return, if there's a vacancy, it's supposed to be filled by the board, and for continuity, that may be the subject of a special meeting as well. But generally speaking, the way you characterize the basis for a special meeting is correct.
Thank you. Before we move into public comment on agenda items, I have just something I want to say. I'm in charge of running the meetings, and a couple of weeks ago, or the last meeting, there was a speaker that came up and used people on the board's names, which is not allowed. And I'm supposed to catch that, and I failed to do that. And specifically, the speaker spoke of Ms. Bello and Mrs. Politi, and not in very positive terms. So I'm just taking this moment, since you were disparaged in public, I'm going to apologize in public, although I was not the speaker. So I apologize, Mrs. Politi. I apologize, Ms. Bello. That was remiss on my part, and thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have anyone signed up for public comment on agenda items?
There's no one signed up on agenda items, sir.
Would anybody like to speak on agenda items? All right, we will move to non-agenda items. Do we have anybody signed up?
There's one person signed up to speak on non-agenda items, and that's Ms. Dawn Fuchek. Ms. Bello, can you turn your microphone on?
Is this on? Yes. Okay. Good evening, everyone. I just want to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Mark Levenstein for his many years of service as a board member on the Newburgh and Large City School District Board of Education. I had the pleasure of working with Mr. Levenstein as a fellow board member back when he was first elected to the board. He has a vested interest in this community, being both a parent of children who have since graduated from the district, as well as a local business owner. Thank you, Mr. Levenstein, for always prioritizing what is best for students. Thank you for being a good financial steward of the taxpayers' money. And thank you for making informed decisions based on factual information. The knowledge and wisdom that you have brought to this board through your years of experience and dedication will be greatly missed. I hope that you will consider running for the board again in the near future. Thank you, Mr. Levenstein, for always putting our students first. As we move forward with a large turnover on the Board of Education, I am hopeful that all members can work collaboratively and respectfully with each other and with the superintendent. This is a critical component of a highly effective school board. As stewards of our district's most precious resources, our students' and taxpayers' money, it's crucial to ensure responsible governance and effective allocation of funds to support quality education and community needs. It's important to foster an open-minded approach when considering different viewpoints, advocate for all students' needs, prioritize building trust within your governance team and with the community, and to practice active listening. These values are essential for effective stewardship of our district's resources and ensuring the best outcomes for everyone involved. I look forward to seeing the accomplishments of the new board as they work together to ensure positive outcomes for every Goldback every day. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak on non-agenda items? Yes, sir, please come forward.
Good evening, Superintendent, members of the board. I realize we just got through a very intense, contentious budget battle, and I'm glad we could put that behind us and we can focus on other business. One thing I've constantly heard, and obviously I've observed it myself, is the lament that we do not have enough of the community involved in meetings such as this. It's always been a problem. I'm sure it's a problem in other school districts as well. One thing I'm appreciative of is I do notice that these meetings are published up on YouTube on a regular basis, which is good. But one thing I'm not sure is covered, and what I'm about to go into is more for people who are natively Spanish speaking. As I come from a household from both native English and where Spanish is a primary language, I understand and I know how to configure YouTube in order to caption these meetings in a Spanish language. However, I'm not sure if the public is aware of how to do this. So I'm just putting forth a suggestion for the technology side of the house. They may find it useful to publish a little how-to on how to configure YouTube in order to caption these in Spanish because, again, being from a household where we had both native English and Spanish speakers, I can attest to the feeling of being left out if the conversation is not understood. And obviously, we have a growing native Spanish-speaking population that have their children in the school district that need to be included, that need to be interested in the interest of increasing in the interest of increasing participation in the school board, in these meetings, in the general goings-on. That's just one suggestion I would want to put forth. In addition, another suggestion I would want to put forth as far as the conducting of these meetings, I appreciate this opportunity that the public has in the beginning of these meetings to put forth public comment, both on agenda and non-agenda items. But obviously, at the conclusion of this time in the meeting, the board and the superintendent will confer and conduct the business of the board. They will have their say, they will have their suggestions and whatnot. At the end of the meeting, even though, yes, I do understand these meetings can go very long, I know that in the past, there's also been a section at the conclusion or before the conclusion of these meetings for the public to have their say on what they have just heard. And I would put forth a suggestion that perhaps, understanding that we can go through long board meetings, I get it, but the public should be afforded the opportunity to make fresh comments on what's been freshly debated while it's fresh in their minds. It can be obviously some time before all the information is processed. Perhaps you forget a detail. Perhaps your note-taking is not up to snuff. But I think the public should be afforded, right after, fresh after the debate, an opportunity to put forth their 2 cents on what they think just transpired. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Would anybody else like to speak on non-agenda items? All right, then we're moving to executive session. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Peterson. I can't hear you. Okay, go ahead, Ms. Peterson.
So as many of you may be aware, during our board meetings, if you're watching online, they're looking a little different. Part of the reason for the translation not being in place, this is something that we've been seeking to do for about a year. We needed to update and upgrade our audio system so that we can work along with a vendor to translate our meetings. Part of the reason as well is the cost to do that so that it's in the native speaking language. There are many platforms, but that is also a budgetary constraint. What our hope is that moving forward, we'll be able to translate meetings. We do offer things within the website to translate, but however, for those of you that are participants in language, translators do translation apps and Google Translate within our browsers sometimes does and does not work. Unfortunately, our platform for board docs, translation does not work. So that is why we are trying to actually translate the meetings as we go. So it's something that we've been actively working for a year. For those of you who have watched board meetings previously, our system was struggling. It was on its last legs. So we are happy that we have a new system that is going to be able to allow us to do such things in the near future.
Thank you. Sir?
Along with that, maybe it'd be wise if we can teach the public where to find the agenda, because on the school board site, it's sort of hidden in there. So we can give them like instructions to go to the board ed site and click on board docs and they can view the agenda. Because we've been trying to, for the public, go over every agenda item, but if the public is aware how to find the agenda item, they can look at it ahead of time, or if they're looking at it in past tense while they're watching the video, it might be available to them. They just need instructions.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Any other comments? Good. All right, we will move into executive session. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby recesses into executive session for the following purpose: employment history of employees or corporations and the matters leading to the employment of particular individuals, collective bargaining under the Taylor Law, and to obtain advice from legal counsel. We get a motion in a second to move to executive session.
So moved.
Mr. McCoy.
Mr. Doré?
Yes.
Mr. Levenstein? Yes. Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Boucher?
Yes.
Yes, sir. We are back. I apologize for the lengthy time we were gone. Sometimes the business just takes a little bit longer. We're up to item 5, superintendent's update.
There we go. Thank you. Response to public comment. Good evening. Before I share my update, my team and I would like to respond to public comments that were made this evening. With regard to public comments, along with the policy committee, the Board of Education establishes a policy that governs these meetings. We can review the meeting policy for adjustments that can be made. Adding instructions for people to follow to translate the YouTube videos of the meeting is something that we can add to our website and descriptions of each meeting. Instructions to access the Board of Education meeting agendas has been listed in the description of each meeting on YouTube. We can add those instructions to other areas of our website. Thank you for your suggestions. As Ms. Peterson mentioned earlier, we recognize the need for all of our students, families, and community members to feel welcomed to engage with these meetings regardless of any language that they speak. Would any members of my team would like to add anything else?
As it relates to providing information to parents in the community at Parent Connect events that are held at different times throughout the district, we provide information on how parents can log on in Spanish and English to the parent portal. We also provide information on how to maneuver and understand the website as well, also in Spanish and English, for those parents that do show up at Parent Connect. So we do make an attempt to do that with any meetings that we have in the buildings, whether they're Title I meetings or if they're coming out to understand iReady data assessment or New York State assessments or Regents exams, whatever event that we're holding in buildings. We do also, for every single event, we have registration on board to support, and then also someone there that can help them and assist them with understanding the parent portal. So just so you know.
Thank you.
There's also within the FACE team and the registration team, as a part of the Welcoming Center, we try to connect families with Spanish speakers to welcome them as well as to educate them as where their resources are within the building. Also, we've tried to expand our ability to use our Spanish-speaking staff members to support parents of different languages when they do come to our building. So each building has a designated person to assist them with translating and also speaking. So if there is a question or concern, so that's something we're building within the district.
Thank you. I'd like to provide a brief update about our most important topic, our students. This week, my team and I navigated several obstacles to keep our children and educators safe during the heat advisory this week. I am thankful for the quick thinking of multiple members of my executive team and administrative staff, along with building and district administrators and our amazing faculty and staff who are able to act quickly to implement these challenges. I would also like to publicly thank Ebenezer Baptist Church in Newburgh for hosting one of our 8th grade moving up ceremonies when we had to relocate in less than 2 hours' time. We know these situations are not ideal. However, the quick thinking, collaboration, and community connections of our team are a testament to the kind of educational system we continue to strive for in our district. Congratulations to all of our teachers and families who are celebrating students making milestone steps in their educational careers. Our schools have been filled with excited students and families as we recognize their academic achievements to move on from one school building to the next level. This afternoon, I had the absolute privilege of joining one of our high school students at the table for a conversation with the United States Secretary of Education, Dr. Miguel Cardona. Our NFA P-Tech student, Layla Barth, represented us beautifully, sharing her thoughts about her combined high school and college experience. I had the privilege of highlighting our P-Tech and career technical education programs while offering ways that the federal government could help children in our country receive more access to exploring their options and developing opportunities for their future. Next week, we have our annual graduation ceremony that will be held on Tuesday, June 25th at 5 p.m. We look forward to starting the tradition of bringing our NECSD employees who are parents and guardians of our graduates on stage to hand their children their diplomas. I could go on and on and on about the great things happening this week, but I will keep this summary brief. Thank you. That concludes my items this evening, Mr. President.
Thank you, Dr. Manning. Mr. Ford.
Thank you, Mr. President. This evening, we have a resolution to add items to the agenda.
Thank you. Can we get a motion to add 5 items to the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Yeah. Yes.
I'll read the items.
Okay.
The first is a resolution to approve an SMOA with the NASA Administrators Unit. The second resolution is to approve the terms and conditions of an SMOA between the district and the Newburgh Teachers Association. The next resolution is to approve the terms and conditions of an SMOA between the district and the Civil Service Association. The next item is a resolution to direct the superintendent to implement the penalty determination in SED case number 42957. The last item for consideration of addition is resolution to authorize appeal of SED case number 42957.
Okay, the vote is to add the 5 resolutions. Please call the roll.
Mr. Levinstein,
Yes.
Ms. Politi,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
Ms. Bello,
Yes.
Ms. Boucher,
Yes.
Mr. Doré.
Yes.
Item 5.3 is a resolution to approve SMOA with NASA, the Administrators Unit.
Can we get a motion in a second?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion on the item? Vote.
Ms. Politi,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
Ms. Bello,
Yes.
Ms. Boucher,
Yes.
Mr. Doré,
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein.
Yes.
Item 5.4 is a resolution to approve the terms and conditions of an SMOA between the district and the Newburgh Teachers Association.
Get a motion in a second?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Mr. Levinstein?
So, Mr. Forger, could you maybe just give a very brief explanation of 5.4 and 5.5 and why they're before us today?
These are items to compensate individuals who had to work beyond the school day today. The school day today was modified. We had some teachers that were required to administer Regents exams and some teachers that were required to score Regents exams. As we were on a half-day session due to the heat and the climate, those individuals needed to be compensated because other individuals in the same unit were able to go home. This allowed them to be compensated for the work they did while other colleagues did not have to perform those duties.
Is it similar for 5.5 also?
Yes, I'm sorry, I was doing, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Forger. Thank you, Mr. Levinstein. Any further discussion on 5.4? Let's vote.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Doré?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Item 5.5 is a resolution to approve the terms and conditions of an SMOA between the district and the CSEA.
Thank you. Any discussion on the item? Let us vote.
Point of order, you need a motion and second.
A motion and a second.
So
please.
moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Ms. Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Doré?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Item 5.6 is a resolution to direct the superintendent to implement the penalty determination in SED case number 42957.
Get a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Vote.
Ms. Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Doré?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Bello?
Yes.
Item 5.7 is a resolution to authorize appeal of SED case number 42957.
Get a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Vote.
Mr. Doré?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Boucher?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. That concludes our items.
Thank you, Mr. Forget. Moving on, number 6, Clerk of the Board.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have the approval of the minutes from May 30th and June 11th.
Thank you. Get a motion and a second on these, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Let us vote.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Doré?
Yes.
That concludes my items, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. McCoy. Assistant Superintendent, Human Resources. Good evening, Mr. McLemore.
Thank you, Mr. President. On the Human Resources agenda, I have items 7.1 through 7.19 for your consideration on tonight.
Thank you. Would anyone like to separate out any of these items?
I would.
Yes.
7.1, 7.2, 0.3, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, 7.12, 7.14, 7.13, 7.16, and 7.19.
Okay, on the floor, we have 7.1 to 7.19 minus 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, 7.5, 7.6, 7.7, 7.8, 7.9, 7.12, 7.14, 7.13, 7.16, and that's it.
Point of order. I have 7.12 separating 7.13, 7.14, 7.16, and 7.19.
7.19, okay.
So it's 7.1 through 7.19 minus 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, 13, 14, 16, and 19.
Okay, so that leaves us I'm gonna do some math here. 10, 11.
You should entertain a motion on 7-1 through 7-19 minus 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, 13, 14, 16, 19.
So moved.
Second.
Call the vote.
Roll call, Ms. Politi,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
Ms. Bello,
Yes.
Ms. Boucher,
Yes.
Mr. Doré,
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein.
Yes.
Okay, can we get a motion and a second on 7-1?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion on the item?
No?
No discussion? Okay, anyone else? Call the vote on 7-1.
7-1 roll call, Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
Ms. Bello,
No.
Ms. Boucher,
No.
Mr. Doré,
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein,
Yes.
Ms. Politi.
Yes.
That item fails.
Okay, we're on 7-2. Get a motion and a second on 7-2, please.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Call the vote then.
Ms. Bello,
No.
Ms. Boucher,
No.
Mr. Doré,
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein,
Yes.
Ms. Politi,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart.
Yes.
That item fails.
What's that? You want to table it? All right. I don't know if you could do that now. We're on 7-3. 7-3. Get a motion in a second?
Motion.
Second.
Any dis-
I'd like to make a motion to table the rest of the HR agenda.
Point of order. 7-3 is on the floor, and the only thing you can table at this moment is the one that's on the floor, which would be 7-3.
I'd like to table 7.3.
Get a motion and a second to table?
So moved.
So we are voting to table 7-3.
Roll call on the table 7-3. Mr. Doré,
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein,
Yes.
Ms. Politi,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
Ms. Bello,
No.
Ms. Boucher.
Yes.
Item to table 7-3 passes.
Okay.
Can I make a motion now to table the balance of the HR agenda?
No.
Okay.
In order to table something, it has to be on the floor, sir.
We're at 7-5, right? Okay, need a motion and a second on 7-5.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on 7-5?
And second.
Mr. Levinstein?
I have discussion.
Go ahead.
Discussion. Okay, I was, We're on 7.5, correct? Okay. I was just wondering when this was posted, this job.
I wouldn't have, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. President, I am so sorry. May I speak?
You know the answer.
No, I don't know the answer, but I can find the answer for you. I just don't have that information in front of me right now.
Okay. I mean, I looked, I didn't find it. That's why I'm concerned about it.
I believe this is a posting from the beginning of the school year. This is ongoing work that Bombville does with their, the teachers wanting to do the work to continue to make progress towards math. So it's an ongoing process as team members join and come off the team.
Okay,
And it's specific to Bombville.
okay.
Any further discussion on 7.5?
No.
Mr. Levinstein?
Okay, I'm sorry, Ms. Bajaj.
In this position, if a teacher was already placed in a different school, they're allowed to come back to this school for the summer? So there's a teacher on the list that was placed in a different school starting July 1, but now for July 1, he's going to be in Bombville. Is that him? Right, he was placed out of Bombville, but for this resolution, he's going to be back in Bombville.
It's summer work, so I mean, he's been on the team, the individual's been on the team, and if they want to continue, I don't know why we would say. But
Mr. Forget.
Mr. McLemore, what's the date of appointment to the new school? Is it September 1st or is it July 1st?
September 1st.
So then he would still be participating in the activities over the summer at the current school?
That
Is that
is
correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
I just thought that it was July 1 for the start date for that, but I could be mistaken.
Any further discussion on 7.5? Start again.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Bello?
No.
Ms. Boucher?
No.
Mr. Duray?
Yes.
That item fails.
Item 7.6. Get a motion and a second, please.
I'd like to make a motion to table, please.
Point of order. It has to be on the table first, sir.
Get a motion and a second for 7.6.
So moved.
Second.
I would like to make a motion to table, please.
Okay. We need a second, please.
Second.
Get a vote to table.
Roll call to table 7.6. Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Bello?
No.
Ms. Boucher?
No.
Mr. Duray?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Item fails.
7.7. Get a motion and a...
Point of order.
I'm sorry, sir.
The table to 7.6 failed.
Okay.
7.6 is still on the floor, so you need a roll call on 7.6.
Okay. Get a roll call now.
Roll call on 7.6. Mr. Stewart?
No.
Ms. Bello?
No.
Ms. Boucher?
No.
Mr. Duray?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
Yes.
7.6 fails.
7.7. A motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
I'd like to make a motion to table 7-7.
Get a second on the motion to table?
Second.
Thank you. Get a vote on table the item.
Tabling 7-7, Ms. Bello,
No.
Ms. Boucher,
No.
Mr. Duray,
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein,
Yes.
Ms. Politi,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart.
Yes.
That also fails.
Okay, 7-7 is on the floor. We'll get a vote on 7-7.
Motion.
Second.
We are,
7-7 is already on the floor, we just need a roll call.
right. Please vote.
Roll call on 7-7, Ms. Boucher,
No.
Mr. Duray,
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein,
Yes.
Ms. Politi,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart,
No.
Ms. Bello.
No.
7-7 fails.
Motion and a second on 7-8, please.
So moved.
Second. Motion to table.
Get a second on the table.
Second.
Okay, the vote is to table 7-8.
Mr. Duray,
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein,
Yes.
Ms. Politi,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart,
No.
Ms. Bello,
No.
Ms. Boucher.
No.
Motion to table fails.
7-8 is still on the floor. Can we get a vote on 7-8?
Roll call on 7-8, Mr. Levinstein,
Yes.
Ms. Politi,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart,
No.
Ms. Bello,
No.
Ms. Boucher,
No.
Mr. Duray.
Yes.
7-8 fails.
7-9. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on 7-9? So we'll vote.
Mr. Levinstein,
Yes.
Ms. Politi,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
Ms. Bello,
No.
Ms. Boucher,
No.
Mr. Duray.
Yes.
7-9 fails.
No, 7-12, right, yeah. Okay. All right, we're moving to 7-12. Get a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Mr. President, can we have a discussion on the previous,
I can't hear you.
can we have a discussion on that previous item that was just failed?
Can we discuss that?
It would have to be a motion for reconsideration that would be brought forward by those who voted against it. There would be another opportunity at another meeting.
We're on 7-12.
We need a second, we only have a motion. Somebody needs a second.
Can we get a second on 7-12?
Second.
We need somebody else other than Ms. Boucher to second it, because she put it on the floor.
Oh, okay. Okay. Discussion on 7-12.
Roll call on 7-12.
Roll call on 7-12.
Roll call on 7-12, Ms. Politi,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
Ms. Bello,
No.
Ms. Boucher,
Yes.
Mr. Duray,
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein.
Yes.
7-12 passes.
Dr. Manning would like to make a short announcement.
I'm going to ask my team, you guys can please feel free to go home. I don't believe we'll be conducting any business for the district tonight. Have a good night.
We are at item 7.13. Got a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion on the item? Vote.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Bello?
No.
Ms. Boucher?
No.
Mr. Duray?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
Yes.
713 fails.
7:14, a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion on 7.14? Please call the vote, sir.
Ms. Bello?
No.
Ms. Boucher?
No.
Mr. Duray?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
No.
714 fails.
7:16 then? Yeah. We are at 7.16. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, 7.16? Please call the vote, sir.
Ms. Boucher?
No.
Mr. Duray?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Bello?
No.
716 fails.
We are at 7.19. Correct. Okay. Get a motion and a second on 7.19?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion on 7.19?
Mr.
Mr. Levinstein.
So just to be clear about this is abolishing a part-time position and creating 3 full-time positions on this resolution? Thank you.
Any further discussion, 7.19? Call the vote, please.
Mr. Duray?
Yes.
Mr. Howard? I'm sorry. Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
No.
Ms. Bello?
No.
Ms. Boucher?
No.
719 fails.
No, there's no one to conclude. That concludes the HR section. Mr. Forget, will you be doing 8?
Sure. This evening, we have items 8.1 and 8.13 in consent.
Would anyone like to separate out anything between 8.1 and 8.13?
8.7, please.
8.7, okay. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, can we get a motion and a second on 8.1 to 8.13 minus 8.7? Somebody? Motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on 8.1 to 8.13 minus 8.7? Please call the vote.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Duray?
Yes. Okay, motion and a second on 8.7, please.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion on 8.7? Please call the vote, sir.
Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Abstain.
Ms. Bello?
No.
Ms. Boucher?
No.
Mr. Duray?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
8-7 fails.
That concludes the items for CIO.
Okay.
I now have the items for Assistant Soup for C&I Secondary. Please consider items 9.1 through 9.4 on consent.
Thank you, Mr. Forget. Would anybody like to separate out anything 9.1 to 9.4? I'm sorry?
9.1.
9.1, okay.
That's it.
Is that it?
9.3.
Okay, can I get a motion and a second on 9.2 and 9.4?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion, 9.2, 9.4? Please call the vote.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Duray?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
Yes.
All right, we're at 9.1. Can I get a motion and a second on 9.1?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion on 9.1?
Ms. Bello?
No.
Ms. Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Duray?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
9-1 passes.
We are at 9.3. Can I get a motion and a second on 9.3, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on 9.3?
Yes, what is it? The ProSolve, what is that? What kind of a program?
Yes, so what it says is ProSolve is a project-based learning platform that will be used during the summer learning and enrichment for middle school students. ProSolve will be facilitated by district teachers, and it combines literacy, problem-solving, and social-emotional skill building within the setting. So it's a summer school program for middle school students to address literacy and problem-solving.
Okay.
Any further discussion on 9.3? Please call the vote, sir.
Ms. Boucher?
No.
Mr. Duray?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Bello?
Yes.
9-3 passes.
Forger, you're up again.
That concludes CNI, and we'll move into exceptional learners. We have one item for your consideration, recommendations from CSE and CPSE committees.
Thank you. Any discussion on items 10 point, well, actually, I need a motion and a second on 10.1, please.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on 10.1? Please call the vote, sir.
Mr. Duray?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Boucher?
Yes.
That concludes my items, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Forger. We have one more item, adjournment. Could I get a motion and a second, please?
Second.
Call the roll.
Mr. Levinstein?
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Duray?
Yes, sir. Thank you.